Whoa, whoa, yo, yo, hello. Can you see me? Are my arms waving? Do you see them going around in the air? Do I have a bee by my ear? Do you see or hear anything going on right now? Don't worry if you're listening to this. Hold up. We're just getting everything configured with because we have servers across different platforms and places and things that you could be seeing us. So if you give up just a few seconds, I know you're going to hear the words you want to hear, which really simply is, welcome to the show. I'm 3D, and yes, you're here watching me. I want to change your perspective on something today, and if you're seeing the actual episode, it is the math to save meme coining. Um, and yes, it does come with schematics today. That was actually one of the things that hear the word messed us up this morning. I completely forgot to open up the schematic, and while I was in the process of opening up schematic, I crashed my I actually crashed the AI I used to run my VTuber model, so I had to redo everything over. So I apologize for that delay. So, anyways, let's get into the get in because it is going to be getting good. Basically, with the recent up and down of how Bitcoin has led some new meme coinery, and well, it's about time we address this issue. Well, the issue isn't with meme coin season, but how some people are tracking their meme and causing them to lose wealth without the rug pulls. I mean, what rug pulls one thing, but I'm talking about people who were losing without the rug pulls. All right, and that's what we're here for today. So, um, because I do mean like most of you can do, the most you can do prevent a rug pull really is not getting into that. And one of the best ways to stop that is just try not to be the first one in. Wait for the rug to happen and then jump in. But that's not actual advice or anything. That's just, if you're not in before the rug, they can't rug you. Is what I'm saying. Um, okay, that is not fun. Normally we bring up the chat. Um, but YouTube chat literally killed itself. Um, it's actually been a new thing they put in some time. Like right after my last episode, the day after I noticed it was actually in. So when we go in and try to remove this little thingy that's going to pop in, which you'll see it here in a second, normally we'd go in and have it basically tell us, hey, I just don't want to see this. Now that's what you have to see. So I guess unless we get a YouTube chatter, that's when it goes away. It's gonna be off the screen, probably, potentially, indefinitely. Which also does mean something terrible in the future. It might mean I might not be able to get the YouTube chat back up here, and we might have to try again going through the X chat, which last time I tried that I got. But anyways, aside from all that, I do want you to be able to do your meme coining, like Dogecoin and Shiba Inu and similar. Like there should be a way for people to do meme coinery without absolutely wrecking themselves, or have a way to help them figure it out. And of course, you can use what I'm going to show you for all your trades. Um, but basically, you'll see what I'm talking about. This is going to help you track your basic cost line. And this is not designed for leverage trading, but more of that huddle trader or restless margined trading style. Let's go ahead and jump into the jump-ins. I want to thank our network partnerships, the Organized. It's one of our most recent, the Bitcoin Live Digital Broadcasting DB partnerships that has happened. And with Bitcoin Live DB and the Organized, they are a powerhouse combo. It's great to see them jump in, especially since they offer a lot of great content. Actually, I was in their New Year's Eve bash stream, had a lot of fun there. But go ahead and try checking that out because they have a lot of fun stuff to offer. Now let's jump into the sponsor of today's, because we have a great sponsor, like always, Shieldfolio. And I've been seeing Shieldfolio. I think they were presenting somewhere or something. I saw they had a desk booth somewhere. That's very awesome to see on X Twitter. But if you're wanting to know what a Shieldfolio is, basically it's like a little black book to hide your private keys, hide your crypto keys, to hide your even like your logins for your web addresses, and it's a little black book for your little secrets. It's made of stone paper, so it's tear resistant, fade resistant, all sorts of resistant, and awesome, like very strong. It's durable. It's made to last. But most importantly, if you use the code 20 with the QR right there, you go ahead and get 20% off your first portfolio today. Go ahead and jump in, check them out. They are available all over the place. But like I said, if you use the QR here, jump over to the website and use that Bitcoin Live 20, you'll get 20% off your first portfolio. And we'll have the QR at the corner of the screen throughout the episode. I just like to make sure you guys know what's going on. I actually have one of these and absolutely love it. We do use it for all of our basic required needs. Okay. Oh snap! Heck yeah! Thank you again to Folio for sponsoring Bitcoin Live in today's episode. Because I wouldn't be doing this without someone helping us out, or helping me out, and helping out to everything. Alright, so let me get this set up and ready. Okay, as we're going on with what's going on, let me. Alright, here we go. Alright. When I was like, well, I can't see the universe behind. But anyways, so coin memeing, meme coining, alt season, how you look at it. Basically, the ideal, I guess, if you are not someone who is doing the meme coinery, basically it's like we used to call them colors, and we used to, they would have green, blue, orange, red, yellow, and then you would get mixtures of colors, and it would get down to a point where you would define your color in like a hexadecimal or base, octane 8 base, F coordinate. So like you would do some kind of color symbolism to represent your coin, and it hasn't really changed a whole lot. Even the trading scale and stuff like that for them hasn't really changed a whole lot. But the environment around them definitely has grown over the years, especially over the years. So some of the more recent ones we're gonna get into. I do want to bring up like Hawk2 and stuff like that. So, but let's get you started off with some basic memery. What are meme coins? How do I find meme coins? So, well, let me give you the screen. I just realized you guys are not viewing my screen. Here we go. So here we are. And now, anywhere we go today, you're going to see a little QR pop up in the corner. That QR will allow you to go wherever I am, either during this live episode from where we're at, or after the fact, if you want to come back and rewatch it on one of the many platforms aired on. And so basically, this is CoinGecko. This is a basic place to find memories. And we're going to start at the coins and info, and then we're going to look for what info you're going to need to actually build your meme coin schematic. And I do have a classic meme coin loaded, preloaded for us. We're going to jump right on over to it. And I said preload, remember, just on the page. Alrighty then, here we go. Dogecoin. Now, Dogecoin is the original meme coin, and this is a standard like Doge to fiat chart in front of us. With the BTC lines, let me add those back. Oh, they still are in there. We just got to change our everything. As they're on. Okay, there we go. All right, so with the BETH and the ETH set on, they should have been the whole time. We can start seeing some viewpoints. So I don't really want to come in here and be like, let's really go through this. I'm going to teach you how to do trading or anything. there's just a couple of things in here I want to point out. Okay, so if you're looking on here at the moment we're at the 1 year, you'll see there are various times where the value of Doge to fiat versus Doge to ETH for Doge to Bitcoin changes or crosses itself. That's kind of an important part. And the 3 month, almost any coin you're looking at, the 3 month marker is going to be a clear identification of like something. As we can see here, this is actually where we have a really solid couple of major crosses, especially this bad boy right here, November 9th, 2024. There was a major cross, all three intersected right at this one point. And those are the kinds of crosses we're talking about. Those are the things we want to look for. So basically what we're seeing is it all has to do with change of value hand. So me personally, I don't like to use meme coin to me personally, I use meme coin to BTC. I don't actually use it in the way we're seeing it here. But I did set up the entire document for this setup, specifically in ideal correlation of meme coin to USDC, because that seems to be the most common way people nowadays are doing their meme coining, value meme coins to the USDC. And if we would say USDC and USD is basically the same thing, boom, we're at the same point that we're now. So you may have to add more decimal points in your schematic, but that's really a minor change, and that's only if you choose to personally make that change, like it to have more precision. You see price of Bitcoin ETH go up to 8 or 9. There are some that go higher, but none of that really matters. That's arbitrary in some perspectives, unless you were memeing under those values. That's when you would want to go. But we will get into that as it comes. I just want to point out the fact that A, I do this differently. B, I am showing you 3 different ways to do it at the same time, because these points of crossing, when you have it going from like, I'll get that more into later. Let me just show you these crossings. As you can see, like there's one over here where the price of ETH versus the actual price crossover a couple different times of Dogecoin. Then if we go down further, boom, boom, 1 month, load, we can see there's more than one of these crosses. And I guess if anything, the one I'm really caring about is 3 major ones. I'm going to care about like if it's crossing the main chain, Bitcoin, and USDC or USD. That's what I'm going to care about, because those are the 3 main coordinate chains for the data. Because like if you're talking about a meme coin, it's normally on another chain, so you're going to want to compare it to its native chain token. And in this case, Doge is its own, so its 2 leading competitor technically is like Bitcoin and ETH. I would say Litecoin, but I don't have the option to add Litecoin in here. 24 hours, we started. Okay, so you can see these happens quite a bit. This one is actually probably a better one to see. We kind of see it. The value is in Bitcoin, and then the value goes down into ETH, and then as it keeps going, we eventually get to a point where the remaining Bitcoin value swaps back over to actual Dogecoin. So like Doge to Bitcoin trades, it means like there's a lot of trades with people going from Doge to Bitcoin, and then Doge to ETH, and then Bitcoin to Doge. So that just kind of shows you, those crossings just kind of point out where changes of hands are happening. And that's, for us, going to be important. Because in a lot of aspects, meme coining can be tied to like a handful of perspectives. One perspective is it is extracting the wealth from where it may lay. Okay, that doesn't mean like, oh, bro, I'm in a rug pull you. It's more like, I got this coin, I've been waiting on it, holding on it. Now it's gone up in value, gone down in value, gone up in value, and I'm at a point where I could trade this out for a different coin other than USD. And you know what? Perhaps, maybe it's worth it in that manner, because going to go back down. I can swap it back over. And, you know, however you're going to actually do, it's just a type of strategy. So, like I said earlier, I'm not actually going to go into the TA about all this. I am just really talking about how to read and point out these crosses when you compare the three majors. Again, main, fiat, Bitcoin, and then main chain. So here's the SUI, for example. SUI is considered a meme coin at the moment. I wouldn't really call it a meme coin. There are people saying it is. It's got memory inside. Let's say it that way. It will definitely have some memory inside. And we can point that out. We can see it, and we're going to show you how that is. So this is the all-time chart of SUI, and you see a lot of SUI value was in Bitcoin to start, but it technically had equal share of value amongst the itself, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. And we can see that slowly, like, you see some real change over here, but also we had value of Bitcoin change. Same thing here, value of Bitcoin change. Well, we start, because of that, we start seeing some zoomed in, but I didn't want to zoom. Anyways, that sucked. We get it back. But it was changing hands. It was going from Bitcoin into or SUI was going back into Bitcoin. One of those two was happening, where we were seeing the value of one of these go. Okay, so it was the value of ETH and SUI were being entertained. So people were trading SUI for ETH heavily around these areas. And then again, over here, they were trading heavily for SUI and ETH. And then as we get up in this range, we start seeing where Bitcoin was used, increase the value of SUI, and then after that, SUI kind of skyrockets as the value of Bitcoin skyrockets, really showing that they definitely have some Bitcoin. Oh, and that's relative, not direct. We go into a 1 year marker area. Of course, they've only had like a couple of major ones of these. Only you ever going to see, or should be able to see it in the 3-month marker. Probably see it the best here, where you really see the value of these were being entwined, where they were really being traded heavily with each other. I mean, for a good length of time too, almost a month. Gosh darn, and it's very recent too, which is positive, meaning that there's value going into it. As you saw, the SUI goes up and up. It dramatically goes above the other two later, showing that there's some real movement into the demand. And that's the other thing this shows. It shows demand is there, even if it's hard to tell. You can even go down, like I said, we can go down and say, look, demand was first apparent here, probably for getting like unicorn, because it's coming. And then once we start seeing Bitcoin, we see people speculating on the value of this new chain, or this chain in general. Maybe perhaps the moon, maybe perhaps not. Either way, it definitely caused a bolster of its value after that point. So, cross points, important. If you can track one, you'd be a good god to make the monies. You'd be able to meme coin all the meme coins just simply by predicting that cross and having wealth right before that cross in the meme coin bolster. So here is Andy. Now, actually, I'm going to go back real fast. Let me make sure I gave you the SUI UR. I want to make sure you have it. I'm going to go back. Okay, so here we go. Not a whole lot of people know what this is. Okay, and not many people will see this chart and be able to even see the difference. But if we adjust, we will basically see the same follow case sequence where all three currency perspectives are basically near identical. So I am at the moment at the max, the lifetime of its thing. And you see almost immediately it had one cross right there at the very beginning. Wealth exited this coin almost immediately. See it right here. 1 point right there. Then after that, everything is higher than the coin. There was 1 point right here where they all kind of went up in perpetuity, which means there was trading between those together very heavily, maybe even a bot, and we can see that a couple times here, here, here. That's the thing. We're actually seeing the spot being used to drop the value before it's used to increase the value, before it's later used to drop the value, before it's used to then increase the value, before it's used to drop the value, before it's used to increase the value. So it's a pump and dump. And it's obvious there's either a group of people doing it or a bot. There's some heavy influence directly controlling the value. And it's even getting to a point where it's almost controlling the value difference between at least these three names. I would say it's probably got a higher difference in that, but it's going to be harder and harder to see it because it's on BNB. Oof. Oof. Yeah. So it's very clear as I keep adjusting this, that correlation, it's going to be very, very clear how that works. I say now this is probably the least representative because it's not a whole year, because but a couple of no, they haven't about a year's worth. Kidding me? No, they got a couple days worth of it. Almost tricky. All right, yeah. So you again, you see it very clearly, and that manipulation becomes easier and easier to see. I want to go back to Dogecoin. In case you forgot what that Dogecoin like, we do see a similar correlation of value, but you see how they don't stay separate. There is demand for this coin. For example, the one we're looking at right here, right off to my side, you get to a point where you're just looking at the value of Bitcoin and the value of Dogecoin crossing multiple times, being used to go back and forth between Dogecoin. Probably during a time from value, which was actually raising the value of Doge. I mean, when Bitcoin was going in value, which was raising the value of Dogecoin. And in the max lifespan of Dogecoin, go back to that, and we go to the beginning of Dogecoin. You can actually see at the very beginning of Dogecoin, there was this massive spike in value 2 different times. So here's where Bitcoiners made a lot of money off of Dogecoin, 2016. I'm not bad, 2014. Here's when a lot of Ethereum people made money off of Dogecoin, 15. And then here's where a lot of Bitcoin money off of Dogecoin again. Well, actually, if we go before that, it would have been 2017. Again, and so we do definitely see that, but you also see right below it the value of Dogecoin is not much further behind it. There you go. There's the 2 dots. See how close those 2 dots is? That teal and the orange. Teal is Dogecoin. Orange is Bitcoin. Those values are not too terribly far off in the grander scheme of things. I mean, yeah, they're completely different prices, but when you say in value difference from the last value difference, not that much, means that value of Dogecoin went up from here to here without Bitcoin moving as much, and then Bitcoin moved dramatically. So the Dogecoin didn't move a whole lot. So it does show, and you see again, that the value is actually being extracted. That means a lot of value is just extracted out here at the very top. So it's like people were all for it, all for it, all for it, and then that is the point where fight happened and people went back into Bitcoin. Well, because bolstered down and then people got their ETH back, and then ETH heavy trading, ETH back, and then heavy trading with Dogecoin, which is where you go from like Bitcoin to Dogecoin, and then save the profit and then back to gain extra. All right, and those are the kinds of memories that we're talking about. So you definitely see a huge difference there. And if we come in here and you kind of see that you get this has a similar effect as the Andy, because at the beginning of this, it was kind of the same as Andy. You could see all the heavy influence directly involved with either a project, a company, a foundation, a bot. And in this case, with Sui, I know it was directly a foundation and potentially a bot. But also a couple of projects being done. And as we go up, then you start seeing like what we want to see crosses for value trading, but then you start seeing demand in the Sui as it starts bolstering above the others during times where it has no real trading connection coin, which means going back and forth. Like we were talking earlier, Bitcoin to the Sui, then back to ETH. But this might have been more of a where Sui was the Bitcoin ETH or Bitcoin to Sui, Bitcoin combination like that. So, all right. Meme coins aside, go back to Andy to show you. These are the meme coins you want to kind of stay away from. Now, let me put it to you this way: if you were in the Andy coin before this point, January 6th, in 2103 and 2203, in those 2 hours, 10 to 11 in the evening on the 6th of January. If you were in there before that, you made some money. Congratulations. If you got into this after that, you probably lost money. Now, the only time that you would have made money after those is if you got involved anytime around January. Ah, dang, that's a lot of activity in a single day. Here's January 8th. Here's same day by that eve. By very beginning of the next day, so right after midnight, value went up. Before the end of that day, lost a large portion. Lost a large portion. Woo. I'm gonna get back on track because where was we at? Although Andy is more like a Dogecoin's perspective line, it's still very clearly not a demand currency, probably only a trading currency, often pump and dumps before they left in dust. So although we can't see a trifecta perspective, we can see the demand for this token dying almost as soon as it started. This is a demand on lunch or DOL, pointing out at the very beginning of its lifespan as that very initial rate of transfer right there is when it fell. It was up for like 5 or 6 hours before it went DOL. So you want to try to stay away from the DOL. Can very easily hurt you. And a lot of times the DOL is going to be sending page. One time that it's not a DOL, if you go in here, hit max cap. Yeah, okay. This one might not be DOL, but this ain't something you really. This has no comparison. It's not being traded for very much of anything. So if anything, this is being purchased. But only a few months old. It seems of it. I mean, the 3 month, the 1 year, and the max all the same. So it's within 3 months, 1 month. within 7 days. I see down here it says July. I guess September, October, November, December. I'm not seeing the chart. Either I got let me see if I got spell it. Well, like none of that was looking good. But I could have sworn Cookie DO style was like an actual thing. Okay, yeah, it just was still. Alright. Woo! It's about 3 or 4 months old. And if you ever click on those and you don't get anything, that's for being traded. That's scary. Okay, here we go. Here we go. How you know it's not DOL? Did not do that initial death. We actually saw this in the study where we kind of there was some kind of equalism between the three, and you can see right here. This isn't because like Bitcoin went down and Ethereum went up. No, this is because they got equal trading between those two and this token. Most likely that means there's a lot of people going Bitcoin to Ethereum and then ending up in DAO, while people are going from Cookie DAO to Ethereum and Cookie. Like there's a good even number of people do both sets of trades on both sides. And then we start seeing some more people buying the Cookie DAO versus selling it, bolster up instead of going down. And when I say that, I mean like see the value of Cookie DAO, this is the teal thing. There's nothing more. But if we make it a little bit easier for yourself, it's actually gaining value over Ethereum, for example. Like it's gaining value over some of its pairs. That's the important part. Versus Indy that can't even close to any of its pairs, and some of its pairs, like the Ethereum pair, kept growing during time frame where Ethereum was not growing value. Alright. Like that Cookie DAO. Alright. Alright. I don't think don't I don't know. This might be another example of a DOL. Well, if anything, this is probably the best example. This is the one example that when we give this to people, people go, "Oh, okay, I see it now." And again, we can't do the trifecta on this one, or I don't know how to do it on this one. We can view dead on arrival perspective. Came out, died an hour, 15 minutes after it started. You see value being trying to be traded, but it does not enough meaning going on to bolster its value upward, although it does have an upward trend right now. And there's probably more people going in there right now to save it, preserve it, blah blah blah. So if you think there's a big keep following behind Tua and you think she's gonna keep doing stuff, this could be a potentially a coin you could pick up for pennies on the dollar and like numbers of years see a potential reverse. But as you see, paywall is not looking very positive. Oh. And if they're able to hot swap out of it, then it's doomed. Doomed. All right, so we're gonna get to the actual meme coin schematic. Getting into it. So I started this repo because I would like to come back and build a web app to do this math for everybody. But at the moment, the schematic is just gonna have to do. And but it's the first look at the picture to help explain the maths behind the quote-unquote safe meme coining. Right, so here is the actual picture that I was just talking about. This is included in schematic, but basically you can go to GitHub and you can download the schematic zip, which will come with the LibreOffice version and Excel version. So it's done on the calc. But to look at this, we can basically see a setup of kind of like the calculus program, LibreOffice Calc or Microsoft Excel, it's called. We can see the spreadsheet setup. We got token, price, tokens, cost, subtotal, moves. And then I break everything down with a bit more clarity and stuff on everything. So we basically looking at each one of these is a trade. So the first trade, we're putting down what was the value of that token, not how much did I trade, what was the value of that token. How many tokens did I receive or lose on that trade? Like how many did I get, gain or sell? And you see at one of these examples, there is a negative, meaning the very first one is a gain of some amount of tokens. The second one is a gain of some amount of tokens. The third one, which is labeled T2, is a loss of tokens. So and if we continue going on, you do see that it says on the right side, let's say buy, sell. The first move is a buy, the second move is a buy, the third move is a sell. So it does show that. And it does show how we get to numbers. We're going to use these numbers in the maths. These are the actual maths I use. I'm going to show you what we use them for. So the first thing I do is I get estimated wealth. This isn't the actual like wealth that these told me or anything, but just based on the at time of trade information, I'm able to calculate two different. They don't. It's not always going to be different, but two potentially different values of wealth or estimated wealth that I should always be above. Basically, if at any point in time I'm doing anything and my actual wealth in these tokens is less than the estimated wealth should be, I've probably messed up somewhere. Or I better not sell anything at the time. Like that's, I use it as anytime that my actual wealth is underneath my estimated wealth, I use that as a buy indicator. Oh, that's a time for me to buy more of that to get my estimated wealth back to where it should be, which by then after you do that, grows your estimated wealth. So you just basically figure out differences, go buy that amount, and kind of ignore it for a day or two, back up. All right, so as you can see, that's T3 times total ATC average. If we see the ATC is its average token cost, it's right over to the in, and we get that, we get the total subtotal, the cost subtotal, and we divide that by the amount of owned or T3. So the other way we can do it though is we can just take the end C sub and divide it by T3 while also multiplying that by the output of doing the C sub divided by the M3, which is the total number of moves. 3 in this case. And both of those will give us an S. Well, again, they don't have to be the same. If everything is done right, they should be the same. So, for example, say your second estimated wealth, the one that's based off of moves and token total, if that is lower than the up one, then basically you're doing too many moves. You need to knuckle down and be able to do bigger moves and make them less amounts. Or you need to get more tokens every time you do a move. And one of those two things is it results into the same thing. Either you do less moves for more tokens or you start putting more tokens in strategy. Simple as that. But if the top one is lower than your bottom one, you're probably doing something well. You might not be gaining value, but you're definitely gaining tokens. That's the best way to look at it, because that top one is simply the average cost you've paid on all the tokens you own multiplied by that number of tokens, which should give you an average wealth. While the bottom one is a little bit more detailed based on, well, what you actually paid for these things, your subtotal, your cost subtotal, your C sub. So that one is more to like actual cost points, which should include your transaction fee, which in here has transaction fee. Because even if like the trading place you're trading charges a fee, that's a transaction fee you need to include to be able to ensure that this will always be correct. Keep in mind the schematic is an automatically updating schematic. So we're going to look at this bottom thing at the very bottom. I'm kind of in your way. I did tell myself I was going to move my character and never did. That would require me doing some work. It requires me doing some, I got to do a new background. Anyways, what that means, I'm going to be in your way. So live with that. We got 4 things we want to look at: sticker cost average, ATP cost average, move cost average, and the token cost. It really means nothing. Some people really like to know this stuff, and I like to do the math. So if we take the C sub and we divide it by the total number of tickers, we get our TCA, or ticker cost average. The average amount of money you spend per token ticker you own. Cool. If you take your C sub and you divide it by your total ATC average, you get that ATP cost average, which that's your average token cost. ATP is average token price, because that is what the total ATP average actually is. But the whole thing is called an ATC. When you get the ATP's cost average, it's a. So the C sub divided by the total number of moves is the move cost average, or basically how much money you spend per move on average. Right? Cool. And your C sub divided by total tokens, which is directly behind, it's going to give you your token cost average through cost. And if anything, that should just be like, I don't know, there's someone smarter than me that will explain to you how token cost average really matters. Is that actually is a thing that really do use to add in trading. Ignore the golden stuff above me and just keep paying attention to this yellow stuff down here, because we'll get into that. So if you take your T3, the total tokens, and you divide it by the total number of tickers, you actually get a ticker token average for your ticker. So you're probably thinking, well, what's the special thing about a ticker? So a ticker, basically like how many tokens are in where, and if you have, so when you get a ticker, you get your average of all your tickers. And if you have a ticker under that average, it would be ideal to bring it up to that average. So the whole point of the ticker token average is let you know where some tickers you may need to think about trading strategies a little bit harder in that area. And if there's just no value in there, perhaps that's a time to drop that tick. Every ticker you own, or every token that you keep in your wallet, is a potential value loss. So you always want to make sure you don't overburden the number of tickers hold. So continuing on, take the total number of tokens, or T3, and you divide it by the total ATP average, or the ATP, get an ATP average, or the OTOC. Now, I don't actually use OTOC, but I know some people really do, because it helps them figure out if a single individual trade was good. You need someone smarter than me to tell you how to do that. Alright, so if you take the total number of tokens for T3 and divide it by the total number of moves, you get your move token average, which will actually let you know if you're trading above or below your average. Are you buying more or less tokens than you normally would? Remember earlier I was saying you might want to do, there are situations where if this is lower than that, you know, this wealth stuff, estimated wealth, is the bottom one higher and lower than the top one, then you might want to potentially put more tokens in each move. This is how you get your MTA, you figure out your MTA, and boom, now you have a number that you can base that on. So if you take the total number of tokens, divided by the total spent, directly in front of it again. Then you get your cost token average. And again, a CTA, super common to see, lets you know when you're overspending or underbuying. So for example, if you know each one of your tokens A and the value of that token is below your CTA, that is not a time to sell. It's a time to buy. So you may be able to use some of these individually to give you a strategy updates. Buy. Which one should I trade today? Let me check my TCC and say. And TCC is just the type of chart we're going to build with you, but you're going to be able to build. What the schematic is for. You'll see in a second. Here, the golden parts. That very top part, oh yeah, very, very top, it's HODL 1 cell. How do you determine your HODL 1 cell? Which you'll see that in the schematic. It'll make more sense when you see the schematic. So that's how we determine the HODL 1 cell. We literally take N3, which is all the prices that we've paid, either positive or negative, and as you see them paid, so it has to go up, right? The only time it's going to be negative is you're only selling 100. So we take all of that, we divide it by the number of moves, while we also add it into that number again. Then we multiply that by pi. Yep. It gives us a amount to sell at. And then find out how many tokens is a good idea to sell, or basically how much would it take to get our wealth back. We take the total number of tokens and we divide it by that number. Done. As you can tell, the rest of these are going to be exactly the same, except for what pi is multiplied by. First one, pi is multiplied by 1. Second one, or HODL 2, it's multiplied by 5. And HODL 3 is multiplied by 9.63, which we'll know the 963, 369, 693 combinations are the Tesla combination. And I do use 2 of those. I don't use the 369. I use the 963 and the 69. Those are the 2 combinations. All right, that's how you read. That's how you're gonna read the schematic. All of that is gonna add in some context. So get your copy of the schematic. Go to the GitHub. Go click on where it says schematic.zip. You click on where it says view raw. You click on that, and then download. Yeah, and you download it. All right. Now that you have it downloaded, this is what it looks like. I am going to turn off the background. So this is what the meme coin schematic looks like. It is opened up in the Office Calc right now. I have 2 example pages. Now down below here, kind of at the base of the view screen, you can kind of see where it says collection cover, token T1, token T2, and right behind me it actually says token T2 pound. And you'll get more of that when you actually view this, because for example, the TCC pound is template, and the first 2 are template by example. So cool. Now if you look above me, we're going to see a lot of those words we were talking about earlier when we were talking about photo, image. Remember the ticker cost average, the ATP cost average, the move cost average, all that's up there. All those averages on that yellow box that say averages. All your raw data that's coming from your TCCs are up there in the red box. Below the red box is your projection and algorithmic projections of your estimated wealth. And those are in the same order we saw before. The very first one, the top one, is the very first one, the one in blue. The bottom one is the one right in that turquoise green. And as you can see in this case, because they are examples, they perfectly match up because, well, we don't have any actual real trading data. This is just generic possible. And then everything in the white is going to be the TCC data you're going to input. Now, if you do look, like right above my head, it says token, and then above that it says equal # token underscore TCC underscore pound dot A1. All of these little columns have some kind of equation above it. So you copy that equation, select it, copy it, click on it, it actually pops up, and you just select everything except for that little tick in the front, copy it, and then pop it in a new spot, put back up in that little top spot, and you paste it. Then you're going to change the word token to the token for your TCC. Let's say it's Doge. And we're going to change it to the TCC chart number. In this case, we have on the third chart number. A1 is the location in that spot where it's going to grab the name. Now, I don't actually have a Doge TCC chart. I just hit enter. It's probably going to give me error. Makes sense. Doesn't exist. So basically what I'm saying is every time you build one of these new TCC charts, just copy either the example or one of the example by the templates, or you copy the actual template and you change out the information. Like you change where it says token, you're going to change it to the name of the token. Like it's really hard to see, but on mine it actually says token underscore TCC, and then the other one says token 2 underscore TCC. That's the name of the two tokens in my example, token 2. So then, like for example, total spent, it's the dot it's 87, and so on, so on, so on. So the whole idea is we fill out all this information into here, and this will update live as we actually change our TCC. Second, and we keep going down and down and down. We get to a point where we exit out of raw real data and we enter theoretical data. Before we get to theoretical data, I'm going to adjust to where the next real data is above the head. It does not remove anyway. The screen spot, average token price, ATP. We got all the average spents down here, and then it gives you an ATP. That's the very last amount of real data that thing gives you. Everything after that to the right is theoretical data. So these are our HODL tiers. So one of the things that everyone does, they all claim to be like the best, I'm the highest trader or best hand, and so now on you can kind of tell someone's trading strategy based on their HODL tier. So for example, this very first HODL tier 1, it does do that average sell that we saw in the sell amount that we talked about in the maths. And basically what that's going to do is that's going to allow you to get your full return. So you won't have much coins left up. We'll see how many tokens that might be in a second. And the HODL 2, you're going to sell off about half what you own, times a little bit less than half, to get your full return. While HODL 3 allows you to sell probably the least amount possible and gain like the most amount. Imagine you sold it all, you'd actually get a lot of return. So one of the things that I sometimes use is like if you open up your chart that day, one of your meme coins is in the tier 3 hodl position, do two things. Sell enough, get your money back. So in this case, you're gonna on the first token to be 10 tokens, and the second one to be 3 tokens. Sell that amount again, so you can see you made 100% your money back. And if it moves out of that territory up or down after that, have fun. So one of the things that I do want to point out is we have these individuals down here below us, and we have the big ones up top. So for example, in the tier 3 hodl, we have two different tokens, and say both tokens, both tokens reach over that $20.97 value point. Well, we could sell off a combination of 6.86 tokens out of those two and make our money back. But to be honest, if we sold enough tokens, we equivalent 20.97 per one token we sell. So we go, okay, to get that, for example, token 1, the top one is 18.8, and the bottom one is 25. Selling one of each of those together would equivalent to being 1 and 1. They're not, basically the bottom one is more than the difference from the top one to be where it needs to be. So that could be 1 and 1, but say, for example, they weren't. Say you had 3 times more of the bottom token and, whatever number compared to the top token, and both of those were about half of what they needed to be. Well, you could still double the amount of the bottom token and all of the top token to equal out that top value, the average value of the tier 2 hodl. Now keep in mind, you would still need another 6 times that at this point to get to actually sell, because that'd be one as if one token. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can sell a combination of the value 20.97 per token and 6.86 per token at that value to receive this heavy return for like sell off provable. Now I want to tell you that because some people are going to have to use that to make the returns in the first place, and then to make their profits on top of that. You do want to do both those at the same time, so time your trades well. And I do point out that if you just change the word token to the ticker, you change the pound to the sheet number, that will add in your new data. So what sheet numbers we're talking about? Well, those are the things beside me where I was talking about token TC1. So we're going to look at token T1. So token is the name of the ticker. Up left. TCC is the token cost chart. So the name of the token and then token cost chart in the sheet chart. And you see I have template trades, cost up, everything else is up there. And if I come in here and we say, okay, you know what? I got a new trade at 8:20 and I offloaded 5 more tokens. One, you know what? My fee was, boom, figures out the rest of the information, everything just, and you can see we have our total moves changed, our tokens owned changed, our average token cost changed, percent changed, even our sell at this price and all other things. So if we look down here at the bottom stuff, the only thing you need to update or change is in this white box, and everything else will just update for you. So one of the things we can do is we can view at what price can we sell this token or ticker, how many of those tokens we need to sell, for how much profit, and then how many tokens are left with how much wealth remaining. So for example, this token that we have $149 in, if we wait till it's $7.10, which right now, I mean, we did say it was over $8 already, we could sell 21 tokens for exactly 2 cents profit, but we'll still have 30.60 tokens or $217 worth of tokens left. Now we go to tier 2 huddle. Actually, believe it or not, tier 1 huddle isn't even that one. Tier 1 huddle is this one. Then tier 2 huddle is this one. So tier 2 huddle, you would wait till it's $30, sell 4 tokens, or almost 5 tokens, make 25 cents, but have enough tokens to make about 1,500 bucks. Nice. If you did that all at the same time, you sold, I don't know, all but 5 tokens, you would definitely make your money back and then have a little bit left over in case it continued to rise in value and make something back. Or if it completely bolstered, you could sell it without any loss. Just future loss, the future profits on. And then huddle 3 is this one right here. For example, if you wait until it's $55, you can sell almost 3 tokens, make 50 cents, but have still almost 2,700 bucks left in tokens to be able to sell with. Or if you sold everything, but you definitely would have made your money back. So these are sheets that you update every day you do trades. You come in, you'd update them. For every token you have one of these sheets. Okay, so here's, for example, token 2. This is a completely different token, completely different setup, completely different stuff. You know what? The value of this token just went down. So at $2.11, I went ahead and picked up another 25 tokens, but because they went down, there's heavy trading, and I had to pay $1.11 and figures everything out. Boom. Problem solved. Not sure, not unsure. Here we go. We got you taken care of. And I think these numbers here at the bottom, if anything, just kind of give you some hope, kind of tell you how to do things. And in every one of these CCCs, we have this image to be able to reference, and also in the collection cover. We have it in here as well. We do not ever leave you without. You will always take care of it. And as you can see, the new trades have been noticed in the cover, and everything has already been adjusted for us. It does even notice that we have a ticker, even though that the system says that ticker does not exist. It does recognize that it should be there, and that does affect some of our numbers. So, for example, if I just remove this and let it update, it did adjust our numbers. So, I hope you guys do actually use this schematic. I know there's tons of people out there who are just going to be getting started in trading and whatnot that could really use something like this. Help them focus their energy, focus where they're going, how to get stuff, all these little things. Because a lot of times when you're first starting off in this type of stuff, starting trading, starting meaning, you get lost in the sauce of what they say in the spaces or the chat, what so-and-so influencer said, and it's really easy to just drop money into a bucket hat that ended up just being someone else's pool. They pulled your money as soon as you dropped it. I want to figure out how to get away from these, and I'm really hoping to help you there. Because I'm not really, if anything, I'm not changing your perspective just today. I want you to use this schematic, track your trades, and see if you can either get yourself better trades or just see how far off this chart really be. Because although the boxes may not always line up as expected, if you try to cheat the schematic, your trades will end up cheating you, and when that happens, it'll show you the mishap in your schematic. But the best of all, the schematic shows any residue you may have in your wallet. So again, you try to screw the schematic will screw you from you trying to screw the schematic, and it will be able to show you where you screwed it at later when you look at the real data versus your schematic. And at the same time, if you use the schematic correctly, it can show you bad residue you have in your wallet where there are tokens eventually losing money. Didn't realize was losing.